Hello and welcome to episode 4. We're going to be rolling out a new version of dense mode this episode. We're going to revisit the Boeing puts that we did in episode 2, only do them with this new dense mode that will look at every single option leg it can find in the data. Recalling back to episode 2, we took a look at this chart and we noticed the far right ones, the 60 DTEs on Boeing, made a nice profit even though they really had no business doing so. We'll explain why this episode using the new supercharged dense mode. We used chain mode in episode 2 to produce this graph, and it produced this flawed chart. Chain mode treads lightly on one path through the data that meets the criteria. It's kind of like a human, unpredictable with luck playing a role. Results will depend largely on timing and the small amount of legs selected, and that's what happened. So here's some clarity to the great Boeing mystery. How could 60 DTs have made money over 5 years? Well, it's because they managed to avoid these 4 landmine legs. They all must have taken these legs here and then found that there was nothing here in the data until these legs here, so they totally missed out on the big loss. So I imagine this is a fairly common thing in chain mode for a pandemic or other big dips. Some chain mode results are going to be really bad and some are going to miss the big legs down and be just fine. So chain mode is interesting, but it's probably not something you could hang your hat on. It's kind of like the swings a poker player goes through. Like sometimes you will win all your big pots, sometimes you'll finish second place and just get killed. Just wanted to show you the records in the log because these things are going to have a huge effect on your long-term performance. So I got them highlighted here, and zooming in you can see each one of those legs lost over $200. So if you could miss those, obviously your results are going to be a whole lot better. Then finally, I wanted to give you a feel for how much data it actually found in the option quotes. So this blue highlighted area here will give us the counts per month. If I zoom in on it, you can see. So there was 4 in January. Those were the bad ones. You didn't want to get in January because they expired in March, right at the bottom. Then if you could have skipped that, the March ones were fine. You know, they were at 2 or close to the bottom, and it was just back up from there. So there's not many, and there's some variance in the number. So maybe like a more liquid stock like Apple would have a smoother curve. So that raises a question in my mind. So how should we weigh the different volumes in different months? For a better measure of past performance, something to provide something more useful for future strategies. It's a good one to chew on. We'll address that at some point. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and hit that like button. Next episode, we're going to do our first early exit strategy, probably something to minimize the max losses. And right over here is the website, so go visit that, and I'll be putting some interesting things up there soon.